Yo, what's good guys? This is Theo here, and in this video we are on part 4 of building a voting application with free code camp. So let's go ahead and pick up where we left off in part 3. In this video we're going to interact with the Google Charts API to start seeing our poll data, and we are also going to set up an authentication route. So this is where the request headers will come into. So let me change directory into my desktop, and let me also change directory into where is it? FCC voting application. Cool. Before I forget, let me go open up the Mongo server, and let me open up the shell as well. Sudo Mongo. Okay. Run this. All right. What is it telling me? Oh, sorry, I messed up on my password here. All right, and let me try this. Here we go. So we're connected, and then let me run this again. Sudo Mongo. Okay, cool. So we're connected there, and we are connected here. All right, cool. Let me open this up with Sublime, and here we go. We are back in our voting application right here. And so what we're going to do, let me load it up real quick. So let me run nodemon server.js. We're going to be listening on 8,000. Here we go. Let's refresh, and let's make sure we don't have anything in our local storage. Okay, so we have a user logged in. Okay, so before I go forward with this, on your profile page I want to just build out a simple button here that's just going to log them out. It's going to be button, and then class of button danger, I guess, and we'll wire up a click event just to vm.logout, and then let me build this out in our controller. So we'll do vm.logout is a function. We'd like to delete the window.localstorage.token. We also want to set vm.user to null just in case, and we're going to do location.path to login. So with all of that, very simple implementation. Let's go ahead and click login, and we're going to do William and test, I think it was. All right, and then if we click log out for William, here we go. And why did it not work? Let's see. Welcome back, William. And it's not hitting it. Let me see. vm.logout. Okay. So let's try this one more time. Here we go. Log out, and there you go. He's no longer in there, and we can't even get to the profile route. All right, cool. So let me log in again with William and test, and cool. I'd like to build out this sort of polls route where you can go in and add a poll. So inside of here, we're going to have a very simple layout, which is going to have first an input type of text with an ng model of poll.name. So poll is going to have a name for now, and then also I'm going to go back to app.js, and we're going to go to polls controller, and we're going to sort of mimic what poll options look like. We're going to say vm.options. It's going to be an array of objects, and it's going to have a name as an empty string and votes as 0 for now. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we can do is we can do an ng repeat over this. So let me go back to polls. We'll create a select, and I will do an option value. I'm going to do ng repeat. You can do ng options. I don't think it matters. We'll do option in vm.options. Here we'll say option.id, or I'm trying to think, what do we want to do? I guess, what do we really need to add there? Let me see. So we'll say option dot name. Let me see what this gives us real quick. Here we go. So we don't have any options. All right. So ng model pool.name placeholder is going to be name of pool, and then here we can say what do we want to do. So here's where we're just building out our options. And oh, sorry, I don't want to make it options. Sorry, I want to do input type of text. So I could do input type of text ng repeat option in vm.options, and then let's sort of see what this gives us instead. Not a select, so it's not giving us anything. And then option in vm.options, and then placeholder equals option name. Let's go back, refresh this, and this is not binding. Let's figure out why. vm.options is an array of objects. Option in vm.options. Okay, and then let's figure this out. Let's go back to polls. Type text and repeat option in vm.options. Input type. Alright, let me bring up my GitHub real quick and pull this off to the side and sort of see how I did it real quick. Okay, so let's go to public, and let me see what I have here. Polls, and I had add poll, ng model, ng repeat poll, vm.poll.options track by index. Okay, ng model, and vm.poll.options, and then let me look real quick. So poll options is an array. Yeah, that should work. Okay, let me think about this again. So ng model is going to be vm.options of index, and repeat option and vm.options. That's a little weird. Options. Let me make sure we're actually getting into here. Okay, let's go back and refresh. And vm.options is an object, so I don't know why it's not coming through. It's an object. Okay, now it is. I guess I just had to refresh. Okay, vm.options index, and is that what we want? Option and vm. And I guess we could say here options index name. Is that what we want? Okay. So yeah, that looks good, right? So let me add on a method right here that's going to be it's going to allow you to add an option. So let me do another HR, and we'll do an ng click vm.add option, add option, and then what we can do here is create this method called vm.add option. It's a function which is going to do vm.options.push name and votes 0. So let's go ahead and try this out, see if this even works. Yeah, that's working. Okay, cool. Let me style that a little bit better for us. Class equals button primary, and we'll give this a class form control. Let's see this now. Here we go, add options. Okay, that's working. I want to see if this is actually correct though. Let me see. So we'll do button, ng click, vm.add poll, and we're just gonna log what we're actually getting here. So let me do a br, and then I want to add some padding here. Padding 10 pixels, and then add poll. Add poll. Let's go in here and do vm.add poll is a function. We just want to console.log vm.options to make sure, and we'll console.log vm.name. Make sure that's right, or poll.name. vm.poll.name. vm.poll.options. vm.poll. Let's just console log the vm.poll then. Let's see what we get. Okay, so if we try this out again, what is it saying? Cannot set property options of undefined. Okay, so let's mess that up now. vm.poll.options. Refresh. What? Options of undefined vm.poll. Okay. Let's refresh this. What the heck did I do wrong? vm.poll.options. Poll.options. vm.poll is an option. Options is an array. Okay, so we're gonna have what is your favorite color? We'll say red. Add up. Cannot read property push undefined. Oh, sorry. vm.poll.options. Yeah, sorry about all these errors. Okay, what is your favorite color? And we'll say red, blue, yellow, and green. Now if we log out our poll, what are we getting? We're getting a name within an options array of red, blue, yellow, and green. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty decent, or a decent implementation. vm.poll.options of index. Can I get away with just doing the index? Let me see. I just want to try this out real quick. But it's giving me an object. Yeah, because I guess this is going to be the name, so that's fine. I don't know why I had it differently last time. Okay, so we're just going to ng disable, add this directive on if there's no vm.poll.name or vm.poll.options.length is less than 1. Okay, so let me try this out. And this is disabled, and that's no. So because there's already 1 in there initially, so we'll just say I guess less than 2, but that's not like completely accurate, right? Because so yeah, that's still, so yeah, you're only gonna get it when it's, yeah, you need to have that first option in there. All right. All right, but actually that's kind of stupid, to be honest. So let's just let's go ahead and add this poll. So I need to create this model inside of here called polls.js. So let's build this out. Let's require mongoose, require this schema. And with that, let's build out a polls schema. And what does that look like? Well, it's got a user, which again, you're only going to be able to add if you're registered. So the type is going to actually be mongoose.schema, or what is it? Mongoose.types. Let me look this up real quick. Mongoose type schema object ID. I always forget the exact syntax. So it's going to be a schema.types.object ID. Where is that? Mongoose.types.object ID. And it's going to have a reference. Types. Object ID. Types.object ID, and it's also got a reference to the user model, because each user is going to be in charge of a poll. Okay, and also it's going to have a name. It's going to be of type string. Required true, unique, true, and obviously if this is unique, we don't have to worry about the user being unique, because that's going to happen anyways. And let's see, now we also have options. This is going to be an array of objects, and it's going to have a name, which is going to be type of string, and also required of true, and each name is also going to be unique. And it's also going to have votes, which is going to be type of number and default to, what's the default going to be? The default is going to be, I guess it would be 1, right? I'm trying to think. If they vote for it, yeah, it's going to default to 1. Okay, let me just double check with what I have real quick. In my free code camp, models, polls, and it defaults to 0, so we'll just increment it the first time. Okay, I can change that. It defaults to 0. So cool with all that. That's our poll schema defined. So say model, we want to compile this model to polls. Say poll schema. And then finally, let's expose this model to our application by putting it on the module exports array. Okay, so let's go back to app.js and let's go out and add a poll. So we'll just say if not vm.poll. Then let's go ahead and just console log invalid data supplied. Otherwise, and let's actually return after that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and make a HTTP post to API/polls. We'll pass along the poll data, and then when we get this data back, we will call .then, which will return a promise, and we will just console log the response that we get from the API, or we will get an error. And if that's the case, let's go ahead and log out the error. So cool with that, I think go ahead and build out our API route. Make sure I'm not messing up anything. So we bring in our polls model. So I'll require models, and this is going to be polls, and then we'll do post to polls, or I guess more human readable, create a new poll. So we're going to do router.post to /API/polls. And then here's the little secret ingredient. We're going to actually build out a function called Authenticate. So Express is actually going to run this function before it continues on and lets the user post. So let's go ahead and build this method out at the bottom. Right here, of this method, authentication middleware. So we'll say function authenticate, And of course, this is going to get the request, the response, and the next to continue on with the middleware if they are authenticated. So inside of here, I'm going to say var headers. I'm just going to say if request.headers.authentication, or maybe if there is no authentication, let's go ahead and return with a response.status 400. Let's go ahead and send no token supplied. Otherwise, if there is a token, we'll say if request.headers.authentication and then .split on the space 1. Then we want to say var token is going to be equal to request.headers.authentication.split 1, and then JWT, we're going to verify their token, the process.environment.secret, and it's going to pass us back an error or a decoded token. If there's an error, let's go ahead and return with a response.status of 400. Let's send the error. And otherwise, let's go ahead and return. Let's go ahead and if there isn't an error, then we're going to call next. So I'll just say console log, continuing with middleware chain. So with that, what I can do, I can test this out by going back to our application, and we're going to go to log in. Why is it doing that? What is it saying? Cannot read property of object ID. Okay, I think I called this, I think I named this incorrectly. So let me go back to models and look at one of mongoose.schema types.object ID. Okay. So I don't know why the docs say that. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's try this out again. There we go. Let me make sure we don't have a token in here right now. We do. Okay. So we're gonna, sort of have this and William and test. We're gonna log in. Here we go. We got our token in our application. And now if we go to polls, and if we try and add a poll, fave color and red, and we'll say blue here. And if we try and post, here we go, HTTP is not defined, so that's a front end error. Let me go back and let me bring this in. So that's what it was. Okay, let's try this again. Fave color, red and blue. Let's post. And here it is. What are we getting? We are getting post to API polls. What is it telling me? Cannot post to API polls. Post to API polls. So it is running our middleware, it looks like. Let's just double check. In authentication, middleware. So let's try this out one more time. Bring this over to the side. And let's post. So it's posting with a 404 for some reason. Red and blue. And post to API polls. That's kind of weird. Authenticate. Why is it not running my middleware? Post to API polls. /API polls. What the heck? That's a little weird. I'm pretty sure I just set up that route. Fave color, red, and what do you mean it's not found? Function, request response. Let me just try something real quick. In post polls. Okay, and now if we go back here, save color, red and blue, hit post, and it's not found still. Okay, I'm kind of confused why that's the case. Authenticate, it should be running that router.post. Oh, sorry, yeah, okay. Let's try this one more time. Sorry, I got it now. So I attached API, even though we don't need to because we already configured our router to do that. So here we go. No token supplied in authentication middleware, and no token supplied. Is there not a token though? There is a token. So we need to fix our method in here. So we need to console.log request.headers.authentication. Make sure this actually exists for us. Let's try this again. Here we go. And request.headers. Let's actually just log out the headers in this case. Okay, so, authorization, not authentication. Request.headers.authorization. And so these are the joys of live coding. Okay, and let's try this one more time. And okay, here we go. Color, red, we're gonna post. Continuing with middleware chain, so it looks like that did work. But if we were to give it an invalid token and try this like that, and now if we post, we are gonna get, why is it saying continue? It's still letting me do it. That's kind of weird. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, so let's go back to polls, and let me take this. It's RRR. Okay, so post API is now 400 error. So there is some error. So let's just console log error with token. And okay, let's try this out one more time. I just want to keep testing our API. So here we go, and error with token. Okay, cool. Because our token is not actually valid at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back here, log in with William, and test. And let's try this one more time. Polls. And let's go to the console, add, continuing with middleware chain, and now I want to see if I can tamper with it one more time. Local storage. So take these out of here, and it's still letting me, but if I refresh, what happens? I think I needed a refresh. Okay, yeah, there we go. So you just had to refresh. All right, so our authentication middleware is in place. It's going to prevent users with invalid JOTs from posting. And remember, you have to call next to let it continue with the middleware chain. So if they're able to post, that's great. Let's just make sure that request.body.polls is there. So if not, let's go ahead and return with a response.status 400. Let's go ahead and send no poll data supplied. Otherwise, let's go ahead and create a poll. So we'll say if our poll is going to be equal, if our poll is going to be equal to a no poll, and we also want poll.name to be equal to request.body.name. We want poll.options to be equal to request.body. What is it going to be? Request.body.poll, request.body.poll.name, request.body.poll.options. And finally, we want a poll.user, And so we're going to grab this by getting that token. So we're going to say our token is going to be equal to, request.headers. So we can sort of go ahead and create this token right here. And we can do JWT dot, what do we want to do? JWT dot, let me see how I want to do this. I want to, there's a poll and I want a user ID. Okay, so actually I can probably just pass this along in our route. So I'm going to pass it along with an array of objects, and it's going to have a user, which is going to be equal to, let me go ahead and grab this. So the vm.user is going to be equal to JWT helper, JWT helper.decode token window.local storage.token.data.id. .id. Let me just log out the user and sort of see what this is going to give us back. What is it telling me now? Okay, go to my profile, and yeah, I have some errors in my API. So let's go back into my API and comment that out real quick. And so unexpected token, app.js 173. Okay, hold on. Let me grab that. 73. I'll make that an empty string for now. Let's log out what vm.user is inside of our profile. Okay, we'll do William and test. Here we go. And oh, sorry, I need to go to the polls controller. So let's go to polls, and it's, here we go. We've got poll.data ID. Okay. vm.user dot data.id. Let's make sure. Okay, so we got the ID right there. Save our user equals user, and now let's pass along the user right here. So in this case, we'll just say ID. Or sorry, we'll do we'll just do var ID. We'll pass along that ID. So let's go back to our API, and here we'll say poll.user is going to be equal to request.body.poll.id. Let's go ahead and save our poll. Error in a resource. If there is an error, let's go ahead and return with a response.status 400. Let's go ahead and send the error. Otherwise, let's go ahead and return with a response.status of 201 for successful creation of a resource. And let's send this resource back to the client. So with all of that in place, I know it took quite a while. App.js 167, what's the problem now? 167, oh, sorry. Okay. So with all of that in place, we can now do, what is your favorite color? Red, blue, green, and yellow. Here we're going to post, and what are we getting now? We're getting post API polls 44, no poll data supplied. What the heck? What do you mean there's no poll data supplied? Poll.save with vm.poll. Okay, and then log out the request.body. Make sure we actually are getting data. Yeah, we're getting data. I don't understand. Poll.options and name and a user. Request.body. Options. Oh. So if there's no options or not request.body.name. Okay, request.body.name. That's what I was doing wrong, sorry. Body. All right, and then, so let's try this one more time. Here we go. Favorite color, red, blue, yellow, and white. Here we go, let's hit the route. There we go. We have created a resource with 201, and here's our resource. Favorite color, here's our user. Now we can populate a user's poll. And here's our objects right in here. Cool. If we actually look in our database, we can go to use free code camp voting, and I can do db.polls.find.pretty, and there we go. We have one poll, and that's the user it belongs to. So let's actually go about displaying this on the page real quick. And so we can do up here, I'm going to create vm.polls. This is going to be an empty array for now, and this is going to be populated with the response data. Response.data, and what I can do here inside of my polls controller, I can go ahead and make another HR and do a ul, a ling repeat poll in vm.polls, and I can just say poll.name and poll dot I don't know, yeah, I guess that's all we want for now. We'll list out the specific options on the page. Maybe we can put the poll.id, why not? And the other thing I want to do after you post, I want to set vm.poll to be equal to an empty object, no matter what. Okay, so let's try this again. Here we go, and why is it not showing up? Oh, right, we actually haven't populated all of our polls. So, geez, okay, messing up today. Okay, so we'll create this function called get all polls, which is going to be like a select star from polls, and this is going to be a http.get/API/polls, and we'll say .then function response vm.polls is going to be equal to response.data, and then what we want to do, also handle the error, and this is going to be called get all polls immediately, and then instead of populating this, we want to just call vm.get all polls. After that works, so let's build out this route. All polls, and this would be router.get to/polls function request and a response, and we're going to do a poll.find function error and polls. If there's an error, let's go ahead and return with a response.status 400.send error. If there's no polls, or if polls.length is less than 1, return with a response.status 400.send no polls here yet. Else, let's go ahead and return with the response.status of 200.send the polls along from our API. With that, we should see our polls now. So let's go ahead and refresh. There we go. We're getting our poll there. And if we add another poll, like what is your favorite sport? We put basketball, soccer, and swimming, and maybe baseball. And if we add our poll, there we go. We've added it, and there it is. We have our 2 polls there in the database. Yeah, guys. So I think that's it for this video. In the next video, we will build out an individual poll page, and from there we will use the Google Charts API to sort of see basically the data visualization. I'm going to show you guys one more route though, because I built my model in such a way that a poll refers to a user. What I can actually do here is let me see how I can do this. Let me go and look at how I populated this in my code, but I should be able to, let me see, books. What I did this other project on Free Code Camp, and I was experimenting with this populate route, and basically you can user.find1.populate. Okay, well I might need the key on there. So let me, a user can have many polls. So I'm going to add this onto here, and a poll is going to be an array of objects, right? So it's going to have, what is it going to have? Let me go back. It's going to have, here on our model, a user is going to have books. Yeah, so that's all we need. We're going to change this out to be type, and it's going to refer to polls. So now I can actually do something really cool. I can, basically Mongoose will run 2 queries in the background, but I can actually populate all of the test populate route to get all polls by user ID. And so what I can do router.get to /tester, function, and rec and res. And I can do something like this. I can do user.find by ID, and here I can pass in my ID. So I'm going to do, I'll show you guys, db.users.find, and I can go ahead and grab this ID, this object ID, and I'll pass this in. And what I can do, I can actually call populate. Now that I've found this user, I want to populate the polls from this user, and then I want to execute this query, and this will return to me an error or polls that this user has created. So if there's an error, let's obviously return with a response status 400. I'll send the error. Otherwise, let's go ahead and return with a response status 200. Send polls. So now, what user is that? James? I don't think James has created any, but we can still test this out. So if we go to API/tester, what are we gonna get? Let's see, what's it telling me? Response is not defined. Oh, sorry. Request and response. I normally don't do the shorthand, that's why. Okay, so here we are, and we are getting the user back. We're not getting any polls, right? But, so basically populate will replace this object ID with all of the polls that that user has. So if I were to actually change this though to William that has polls attached, what I can do is go back in here to my API, and I can change this. Now I should see if this works. Polls, what the heck? That should work. What did I do wrong? Alright, let me look real quick at my routes. API poll.populate. Select the comments field where is it .find one. Alright, let me just try it with the find one just for .find one. And should I say name is William. Alright, let's try this one more time. API tester. What the heck? Okay, db.polls find.pretty object ID 58. Oh, is that not who we're logged in as? 584. Oh, I guess I was using the wrong ID. Sorry about that. Who is the... What is your favorite sport? And options. Do we not have a user attached to the poll then? I thought I did. db.polls.find. Okay, let me check something out real quick. In our application, local storage, there should be a token. So what is the deal? Why is it not saving it? Let's go back to polls, and it has a user. Okay, and then are we not saving the user or what? Poll.user equals request.body.id. Let me log the request.body right here, and we'll go back to polls, and here we go. Let's see what it did. Options, name, and user. So yeah, we did get the user. And then, let me try this again. Name, ID, name, options. It's kind of strange. I don't know why that's not. Well, that's not working. Polls has a user on it. Type your first user. And then, okay, maybe I'll drop this database and try db.drop database. Okay, and then let me try and run this again. So I'm gonna clear this token out. And I'm gonna register with Theo. And now let's go back to polls and I'll say favorite, color red. I will go ahead and add this poll. There it is. And now we're getting a user back. And then let me see if I can actually get this now. db.polls.find. Make this look bigger. Polls.find. .pretty. ID name. Huh. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know why it's not showing up there. Let me log it out real quick in my in here, and then I'll probably move this on to another video. So let's actually log out the response.data. Just the response rather. Profile console. Okay, so we'll do. There we go. So we're getting back data. Options. Yeah, I wonder why that's not showing up. So when we post to, we save. Yeah, I wonder if I have to save it. I probably have to save it as well with the user in their model when I'm running that query. So I'll come back to that, guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.